This opportunity to tell the story of how equity helped the local sector by procuring locally.
Andrea couldn't have written this. This is impossible.
Didn't you say that that's her handwriting?
Yes. I'll make sure she doesn't leave that place alive.
My love.
And not only did we fight, we made it a product that meets international levels. There's a lot more that we can do locally. Let's explore and let's see what we can do.
GoTV's everyone's favorite place this festive. A place to connect.
Showtime.
A place of endless possibilities. A place of victory. A place where friendship means everything. Where you find love in its purest form.
GoTV's everyone's favorite place this festive. Download my GoTV app to easily manage your account on the go. Stay connected for the best of local and international entertainment for the whole family. GoTV. Love it.
Kenya's COVID-19 recoveries rise by 2,616, this even as 957 new infections and 11 related deaths were recorded in the last 24 hours. The rollout of the distribution of Huduma number cards, search and rescue efforts intensify following a tragic boat accident in Siaya County. Good evening, this is Channel 1 News Hour. Let's take a look at the highlights.
That one way to liberate Kenyans is to create a platform, an electronic platform, where all information about our people is found.
A new regime of identification. Government begins a phased rollout of Huduma number cards. Incentivizing service delivery. Civil servants and National Youth Service staff to enjoy enhanced medical cover. And death in Lake Victoria. One person feared dead, 9 others still missing following a boat accident off Honge Beach in Usenge, Siaya County. Welcome to the broadcast. My name is Jacky, Wambiru, and our sign language interpreter is Lensa Odingo. To kick us off, one person has died while 9 others are still missing following a tragic boat accident in Honge Beach, Usenge, Siaya County. 10 others were rescued within hours of the boat capsizing. Search and rescue efforts have intensified amid dwindling hope of finding the 9 alive in the dangerous Lake Victoria waters. Achola Simon with details of the tragedy that occurred in the wee hours of Wednesday.
It is a race against time as the Kenya Coast Guard divers comb the dark waters of Lake Victoria in search of 9 people whose whereabouts remain unknown following a boat accident in Usenge.
Mimi kama chairman wa beach ya Honge nilipata simu ya watu wangu wavuvi saa 4:30 za usiku wa kuamkia tarehe 18 ambao ni leo, ya kwamba kuna watu ambao wamepata ajali kutoka Uganda wakienda sehemu za Usenge. Walikuwa wamejibeba mdizi, penesi na viazi.
10 others who were rescued within hours of the boat capsizing relived the final moments before the boat capsized, spilling them into the cold waters.
Tulifika kwa Musoma hapa Honge. Upepo ilikuja mingi. Ilikuja mingi. Na mvua pamoja kama iko inashinda port. Sasa kambi ilishikako nini ingi ni chini tulitoa kamba hiyo, alafu driver anapika ni Andrew inakamata, alafu kama mawimbi iko mingi inazima.
The boat is reported to have been ferrying 20 Uganda traders from Nairobi Beach in Uganda en route to Honge Beach in Siaya. Bananas, jackfruit and other goods retrieved from the lake stashed in the beach management office at Honge Beach, telling the story of the tragedy that occurred. Preliminary reports indicate the boat may have capsized due to bad weather and overloading.
Kwa kweli kulikuwa na dhuruba kali hiyo jana usiku kuanzia saa 2 za usiku. Ndiposa mawimbi makali kuja ikapindua hiyo boti yao na ikazama. Ndiyo ilikosi hiyo ajali.
Kenya Coast Guard officials conducting search and rescue efforts managed to retrieve the body of a woman by the time we are going to press. The Coast Guard say they will continue to search until all those on board the boat are accounted for. They also urge locals to adhere to the safety regulations while in the lake.
The users, all the stakeholders in the lake, to read and follow the regulations, and will minimize these things.
Kenya is liaising with Uganda on the logistics of ferrying the body of the deceased back to Uganda. No Kenyan national was on board the ill-fated boat. Achola Simon reporting for Channel 1 News from Siaya County.
In other news, civil servants and National Youth Service staff will now enjoy comprehensive group life cover to cater for all causes of death arising from critical illnesses, including COVID-19. This follows the rollout of the first ever comprehensive insurance cover by government. The new cover also caters for enhanced group personal accident cover and Work Injury Benefits Act cover. Isofara with details of the revamped insurance cover aimed at ending perennial strikes as workers demand for better welfare.
Civil servants and NYS staff will now have access to a group life cover, group personal accident cover, WIBA and COVID-19 cover. This is after the government struck a deal with 30 insurance companies to provide the services in line with a directive by the president to cushion civil servants from the pandemic by taking care of their health and insurance requirements.
Will not only have a profound impact on the well-being of civil servants and their families, enhance public service motivation and productivity, but also boost the general growth of our insurance industry.
Treasury Cabinet Secretary Ukur Yatani launching the rollout of the comprehensive insurance cover says Treasury will spend 6.07 billion shillings annually as premiums for the new cover as opposed to the current expenditure of 839 million shillings annually as last expense cover.
This indeed is not only monumental but also a turning point in public service welfare management. And that's why it calls a commitment of that financial magnitude, calls for streamlining the operation and the focus of NHIF.
At the same time, he challenged civil servants to go beyond the call of service to Kenyans, especially during the current pandemic that presents uncertain times.
It is also my hope that this will, in turn, with this kind of investment, we also expect appropriate returns from the public service. It is my hope that this will in turn motivate the broader public service to go beyond the call of duties as citizens of this country, especially during these difficult and uncertain times when financial resources are hard to come by.
The government has been under pressure from civil servants to address their health and insurance needs in the wake of the pandemic. Yusuf Farah, Channel 1 News.
The government has simultaneously rolled out the distribution of Huduma number cards to residents in Machakos and Kiambu counties. Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i, leading the launch in Kiambu, says the rollout will be done in phases with a nationwide rollout planned for the 1st of December 2020. ICTCS Joe Musheru, who was in Machakos, said Kenyans who will not have acquired the card by December 2021 will not access government services.
Kenyans is to create a platform, an electronic platform, where all information about our people is found. And with one card, your details are available. That is why it's called a single source of truth.
Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i, who was in Kiambu, says the cards will revolutionize how government has been doing business and help in the war on graft.
Naenda pale unaambiwa story nyingine hapo, file imepotea. there is an enemy called the file that we are trying to remove from public service. The file imepotea. Tinunulia, enda uone wazee wakati wa lunch, ona hao wazee hivi ili file ipatikane. Sasa hakuna wakati wa kuona mtu mwingine yote. Huo wakati umekwisha na hii. Hakuna mtu wa kuonwa. Those queues that you see in government offices where people are basically lying to each other, asking for bribes, eti nunulie chai. Ile mambo ya chai na file imemalizwa na hii kitu.
At the same time, he pointed out plans are underway for another round of mass registration in April 2021 to accommodate at least 10 million Kenyans who are not captured in the database.
To be served in a public office, you must produce this. But between now and 12 months from now, you have time to collect your card. And how you collect your card, utaambiwa na SMS.
John Mutinda Mwanzia.
Similarly, ICT Cabinet Secretary Joe Musheru was in Machakos for similar exercise. Musheru cautioned Kenyans against failing to register for the cards, saying those who will not have received the cards by December 2021 will not access government services. At the same time, he said the government has taken measures to ensure security of the data.
Mambo ya regulations vile hii kadi itatumiwa kwa serikali hata kwa mabiashara, hiyo yote tumehakikisha tumeangalia. All your information is protected. Parliament also passed the laws of data regulations. The regulations required to manage hiyo huduma number. Kwa kila siku ile kazi unafanya, kama ni simu, kama ni kwa bank, kama ni kwa hospitali, your data is protected.
Due to the COVID-19 measures, the public will receive a short message service notification on when and where to collect the cards. Individuals will have a month from the date of notification to collect the cards.
Kuanzia leo, tutatumia wiki 2 ama 3 hivi kuanza kuorganize hizi cards, tuzitume sasa kwa counties. Mahali ulichukulia card, tutume wewe ni card yako ulichukulia Kiambu, tutume card za Kiambu hapa, tutume card za Kirinyaga, tutume card za Murang'a, tutume card za Nyeri.
The type of cards being issued include the minor's card, which will be issued to children who have attained the age of 6 years, adult Huduma card issued to citizens who have attained the age of 18 years, foreign nationals Huduma card issued to foreigners, and refugees Huduma card issued to refugees. Away from the phased rollout of Huduma card, another 17 healthcare workers have tested positive for COVID-19, bringing the total number of those infected to 2,369, while the number of patients requiring supplementary oxygen within hospital facilities also increased. This as the country registered 957 coronavirus cases and 11 fatalities within 24 hours. Over 2,000 recoveries have also been reported within the same period.
Healthcare workers in the country continue to bear the brunt of COVID-19 infections, even as they battle to save lives amid advocacy for improvement of their welfare. On Wednesday, an additional 17 healthcare workers tested positive for the disease, pushing the number of those infected to date to 2,369. Another 30 healthcare givers have since succumbed to the contagion. Meanwhile, 957 patients have tested positive for the virus out of 5,559 samples tested, pushing to 72,686, the number of confirmed cases to date. 11 more patients succumbed to the virus, with the number of fatalities now standing at 1,313. In addition, 2,616 patients have recovered from the disease, both from the home-based care program and the various health facilities. The total number of recoveries has also climbed to 49,878, while another 1,191 patients are currently admitted in hospital. 58 patients are in the intensive care unit, of which 27 are on ventilator support and 26 on supplemental oxygen. Additionally, 89 patients are separately on supplementary oxygen, with 72 in the general wards and 17 in the high dependency unit. Nancy Okware, Channel 1 News.
A section of members of parliament has castigated the government's handling of the spike of COVID-19 infections among healthcare workers in the country. The lawmakers are accusing the government of grandstanding in ongoing negotiations to ensure the safety and well-being of healthcare workers. On Wednesday, the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Union told the National Assembly's Health Committee that there is an urgent need to address the plight of Kenyans outliers in the war against COVID-19 in a bid to avert a looming crisis in the health sector.
On Wednesday, doctors through their representatives appeared before the National Assembly's Health Committee to seek a solution to challenges bedeviling the health sector. The doctors castigating the Ministry of Health for its alleged failure to protect medics from contracting COVID-19.
That the doctors working in the COVID-19 facilities hired through the Ministry and Public Service Commission were put on 6 months contract, which should be ending in February. And their condition as they speak is that there is no cover, they've not been paid, and there's no assurance of compensation. Because the compensation that is going to be announced has excluded all these doctors on contract terms.
The meeting would, however, turn emotional after some members of parliament were moved to tears over the plight of Kenya's healthcare workers.
It is very sad that actually you go to KEMSA, because they have told us level 1, level 2 and level 3, actually there is nothing like a PPEs. And when you go to KEMSA, I think the size of this building here is full of PPEs, and medical staff are dying there because of lack of these things. What is wrong with this? What's wrong with this, with us as Kenyans and as a government?
I wish we were having this meeting in State House with the President chairing. Then all those who he listens to can make their contribution. That is, you remember my definition of the government, the president and the people he listens to. Those are the people we want to listen to this. I don't like this.
All right, easy.
You can't do that to your doctors and your health workers. It's not fair. It's not fair.
Take it easy. We hear you, Mheshimiwa.
It's not fair.
You know, Mheshimiwa, it's painful, Daktari. It's painful, Daktari.
Health cannot be a business.
We hear you, Mheshimiwa.
We are trying to send a message directly to the president, because these things, we are not giving solutions here. We already know them. The solutions are in the cover, they are in the risk allowance, they are in the welfare, they are in the timely salaries of staff. We don't need to discuss. It is very sad and shameful to us as a nation to mistreat our health workers.
According to the Doctors Union, only 20 counties have enlisted their medics on comprehensive medical insurance cover.
Constitutional Health Services Commission that will handle human resources for health be set up so that we do not see all these issues that we're seeing, because it is difficult. In a county, as we speak, it is the prerogative of the governor on how healthcare issues will be handled, from human resources to service delivery.
Let us not condemn devolution as it is. For me, I know that even if we say, let us return back health to the national function, I'm not sure it will solve the problem. We need to see how we can solve the problem of counties and structures of governance.
The doctors want their risk allowance enhanced to include the COVID-19 allowance that they received for only 3 months before it was scrapped.
Madaktari wote, imagine watu wako ICU kisha nyinyi mwache kazi. Can you imagine that, jamani? Hatusemi kwamba hatupendi madaktari, tunawapenda, lakini angalia crisis itakayotokea. Watu wako ICU, wako HDU, itakuwaje na nyinyi mwache kazi? Mimi naona tusifanye makosa mawili. Kuna makosa yanatokea upande wa daktari, lazima turekebishe, lakini usisema naenda kwa strike. Mimi si support strike.
The Health Committee said it will invite the Ministry of Health, Treasury, and the Salaries and Remuneration Commission as it seeks to avert a looming crisis in the health sector.
That report brings us to our first break here on Channel 1 News Hour. Don't go too far. We'll be right back.
When I got the admission letter to Alliance Girls High School, I wasn't excited because my parents weren't employed at that time, so I wouldn't have gone to school without financial support. I heard about the Equity Wings to Fly program. I applied and I was able to get in. They paid for everything, literally everything that I needed. After high school, we were recruited into the Equity Leaders program, and we got an internship at the bank and college counseling. I was expecting to go to school in September, but due to the pandemic, we were told that the classes are going to be online. Equity conducted sessions on how to adapt to the new changes and how to maneuver through the classes. I'm also doing the Equity mentorship for the Wings to Fly students who are still in school. After getting into Ashes University, I was still supported by Equity. Once I finish, I'd like to pursue a master in engineering, and after all that, I'd like to start my engineering company. I'd like also to start an initiative like the one Equity started, to sponsor students through their education, supporting their dreams.
Ni mimi. Ulitoa pikipiki? Mulitani sitaomoka. Ni yako. Hii nduti ni yangu. Niliwahi pale Quickbit. Quickbit? Quickbit imekuja kusaidia wananchi kama sisi. Nilinunua 399 shillings. Juu nilikuwa the lowest unique bidder. 399 shillings. Quickbit shilingi moja unaweza nunua bidhaa. Shilingi mbili unaweza nunua micro. Shilingi tano unaweza nunua hata gari. So tupeleke huko hata mtu aende huko.
Jiunga na Quickbit ni rahisi. Enda kwenye M-Pesa, bonyeza paybill kisha weka business number 4032353. Kwenye account weka kodi ya bidhaa unayotaka na bidi yako ya chini zaidi. Kwa mfano TV 16. Kisha weka shilingi 20 tu kama idadi yako. Weka bidi yako pia kwenye www.quickbit.co.ke. Kumbuka, bidi ya chini zaidi ya kipekee ndio hununua. Quickbit, bidhaa bora kwa bei ya chini.
Next episode of Corner.
Ona itajisi.
Haiwezi, think of the consequences.
Sioni vile narudi kwa hiyo sakoli ya Yangezi. Cheki kitu amefanya budangu.
Firstly, we don't know the true story.
Amua unachotaka kufanya. Mimi sitakuwa responsible kwa kutokufurahi kwako.
Is that why you are here? To offer me money? You let Richard tell his lies.
Do you think Abasi has been acting strange lately?
Abasi yuko hivyo. Did you and Richard conspire to destroy King?
On the next episode of
Majirani kitu gani? Unawaida kitu gani?
Angalieni mimi umri wangu. Hebu niangalie. Umri wangu sijakuwa.
Nakwambia yani huyo mkeo hana nia ya ndoa yenu. Watakunyonya mpaka wakufilisi.
Welcome back. And now onto the corridors of justice. A worker at the Mama Lucy Hospital who was allegedly captured negotiating with an undercover journalist to sell a child has been arraigned in court. Makala Leparan was Wednesday presented in court alongside the hospital's Chief Executive Officer Emma Mutiu and Health Administrative Officer Regina Musembi. Leparan is accused of negotiating with an undercover journalist to sell a child who had been abandoned at the Mama Lucy Hospital.
With their heads wrapped and faces concealed behind masks, Makala Leparan, Emma Mutiu and Regina Musembi appeared before Senior Principal Magistrate Bernard Choi of accusations of attempted child trafficking. In an investigative piece carried by the BBC, Leparan is seen allegedly negotiating with an undercover journalist to sell a child who had been abandoned at the Mama Lucy Hospital. The Director of Criminal Investigations sought to have the three detained for 10 days to allow the police complete investigations. Senior Principal Magistrate Bernard Uchoi directed the suspects be remanded at the Kilelesho Police Station until Thursday, pending a ruling on the miscellaneous application. Meanwhile, a man accused of stealing money from Kags Investment Limited has been released on a cash bail of 500,000 shillings and a bond of 1 million shillings. Pinta Gadhungu Gikonyo is accused of stealing 8,684,000 million shillings between 29th of June and 1st of September 2020. The case will be mentioned on the 3rd of December. For Channel 1 News, I'm Sarafina Robbie.
Now, away from the corridors of justice, let's cross over to Kisumu County, where the county government has embarked on a mapping exercise of child labour zones in efforts aimed at ending the vice amid growing concerns over the increase in child exploitation cases in the region. According to Humphrey Wandeo, the county children's coordinator, lack of data on the extent of child labour is hampering rescue efforts, consequently exposing children to commercial exploitation.
According to data from the International Labour Organization, 150 million children are exploited for labor globally, 72 million of them working in harmful work.
I know you will agree with me that child labor is the modern slavery and must be fought from all fronts with all the energy. This meeting also comes at a time Kenya, like the rest of the world, is battling the COVID-19 pandemic, whose devastating effects have destroyed families' economic fabrics, sending even more disparate children into the illegal labor market.
Kenya has reported a spike in the number of cases of children exposed to child labor since March 2020.
We are aware that households are finding it extremely difficult to provide adequately for their children. The Department of Children's Services intentionally strengthens the household by providing cash transfer to these households so that they are able to provide some food. It is not enough, but it is a starting point.
And in efforts to rescue vulnerable children from commercial exploitation, the Kisumu County government has launched a child labor mapping exercise.
In our system where we record cases that happen within Kisumu County, child labor is quite minimal. That means that there is a problem in reporting.
Humphrey Wandeo, the county children's coordinator, revealed that child exploitation cases were underreported owing to lack of awareness and consequently led to the rampant rise in the vice.
We are closely monitoring brick-making sites in Yakach, fish landing beaches along Lake Victoria, sugar belt and the bus parks in Kisumu, and other urban centers where children are subjected to hard labor. We have also put our officers on the full alert to monitor cases of child trafficking. In a more recent case, dear delegates, our security agencies fall to incidences of child trafficking and arrested key suspects who trafficked children from Eldoret to Kisumu. The matter is currently before the courts.
The Children's Department has documented an increase in inter-county movement in Bungoma, Kakamega, Kisumu, Malaba and Busia, where children are transported to work in sugarcane plantations, sand harvesting and in offloading cargo from lorries transiting at the border between Kenya and Uganda. Going forward, stakeholders are calling for an all-inclusive approach to stem the vice.
We need to work together as a team, not as individuals, to ensure that child labor is eliminated, and this can only be done if we work together to eradicate this vice.
Regina Manyara, reporting for Channel 1 News.
And in the political arena, the Political Parties Liaison Committee says it rejects the proposals by the Building Bridges Initiative report that IEBC commissioners be appointed by parliamentary political parties. The committee argues that the nomination of IEBC commissioners should be carried out by a vetted panel consisting of various religious leaders, civil societies, special interest groups and representation from all political parties. The calls coming even as IEBC chairperson Wafula Chebukati cautioned against attempts to disband the commission through the BBI ahead of the 2022 elections.
The Political Parties Liaison Committee says it is reading mischief in the push to have political parties have the final say in the appointment of commissioners to the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. In a statement, the committee says it seems too obvious that ODM and Jubilee parties are hell-bent on sidelining other political parties and stakeholders in the selection of IEBC commissioners. IEBC chairperson Wafula Chebukati on Wednesday maintained that there is a well-orchestrated scheme to hound all current commissioners out of office in attempts to undermine the independence of the electoral body. Meanwhile, Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i has warned politicians against using the ongoing clamor for constitutional review to balkanize the country.
Tuendelee kuweka amani na mjadala vile mmesema, tuzungumze kwa amani, tuzemezane hivi. There's nothing wrong with disagreeing. We are a democracy. I mean, we are supposed to hold different views, and because we are a democracy, we discuss. I like the conversations that I have seen here. We have different opinions, but we talk to each other.
Sisi kama county, and we have discussed about this. If not for anything else, give us 35%. Ile kazi ambao tumefanya na 15, we can do it 2.5 times.
Personally, I can die for one issue. That's the issue of IEBC. You can compromise on anything else, but do not make IEBC to be partisan or to be political, because that is the beginning of chaos.
Hiyo mambo ambayo tunaambiwa ati ni babaya na ile mambo tunaona kama ni mazuri, tufanye tuiweke kwa kilo, tuone ni gani ambao itatusaidia. Tukiona hiyo BBI itasaidia, tuipitishe.
Matiang'i's remarks came amid reports that some 40 politicians are currently under probe over hateful remarks.
Tunacheck hizo mambo yao ambayo ilitokana kwa ambayo inalinganishwa au inakuwa karibu sana na hate speech.
Separately, the Kenya Muslim National Council of Kenya says it will only back the push for constitutional review if its proposals are captured in the BBI report.
Hatuna shida na BBI report iwapo maoni yetu yale yataingizwa ndani, kwa sababu hapa ni interest. Kuna interest ya kupanua serikali, na sisi interest zetu ni kuingiza mambo yote ya Waislamu. As far as matako ya Waislamu yataingia hapa ndani, hatuna shida hichi kitabu, kwa sababu mengi kwa hichi kitabu ni mazuri, ni mambo ya kuleta amani Kenya.
The demands come just hours before the proponents of the BBI process embark on a signature collection drive to push for the implementation of the report. For Channel 1 News, I'm Safin Aching Oma.
Still on health matters, the government is warning of an increase in the country's disease burden as Kenyans abuse over-the-counter drugs in the wake of the pandemic. The Ministry of Health, launching the Antimicrobial Awareness Week, says there is an increase in drug resistance as Kenyans opt to self-medicate. Emily K. Bada with details of the awareness campaign to stop antimicrobial resistance.
The Antimicrobial Awareness Week kicked off amid rising concerns over the tendency by Kenyans to self-medicate, presenting a challenge of drug resistance. Health CAS Masi Mwangangi, presiding over the launch of the awareness campaign at Kenyatta National Hospital, revealed there was an influx in the number of persons abusing antibiotics, which he says is dealing a blow to universal health coverage.
The key element, again, is to raise awareness, and that is why we are here today for this day of raising awareness, but also to understand antimicrobial resistance through effective communication, education, and training.
In a bid to cure this, the government has unveiled an antimicrobial resistance surveillance training curriculum and manuals for facilitators and participants.
I'm informed the country has also put together a national action plan that is leveraging on the key strategic objectives of the Global Action Plan, where we're improving awareness and understanding of antimicrobial resistance. We are strengthening knowledge through surveillance and research. We are trying to reduce any incident of infection and to optimize the use of the current antimicrobial agents that we have.
Head of Public Health Dr. Francis Kuria said there is need to minimize drug resistance, especially antibiotics, by increasing awareness on the misuse of over-the-counter drugs.
Even as we fight COVID, the use of antibiotics and misuse especially is still continuing. It's basically aimed at creating this awareness that yes, we can minimize antimicrobial resistance. And it is important more so when you think of the effects of this resistance. One wonders if all antibiotics were not to work, that again is the worst global health security that we're going to be faced with.
The World Antimicrobial Awareness Week aims to increase awareness of antimicrobial resistance and encourage best practices among the public, health workers and policy makers to avoid further emergence and spread of drug-resistant infections.
This is an issue that requires us also to look at the regulatory spaces that we sit in. And perhaps time has come for us to be able to put in place some of the regulatory measures that are there in other countries.
The theme for this year's Awareness Week is United to Prevent Drug Resistance. For Channel 1 News, I am Emily K. Badi.
In other news, a family in Kaptere village in Baringo North constituency is seeking justice after a 15-year-old girl was allegedly defiled, impregnated and forced to procure an abortion by her biological father. A girl's child rights group is now demanding action against her father and stepmother, who are reported to have colluded to terminate her pregnancy.
Kaptere Village, Saimo Kipsaraman Ward in Baringo North constituency. A family is seeking justice after their kin was allegedly defiled, impregnated and forced to procure an abortion. The 15-year-old girl was living with her stepmother and father when the incident took place.
Alafu baba akakuja usiku akanishika, alafu akanifunga mdomo. Sasa hiyo mama akamba kwa alikuwa ameenda kwa mwisho, alafu akanifanyia tabia mbaya, alafu akaniambia usiambiane, na akarudia tena ya pili akanifanyia hivyo.
According to the girl, her father is reported to have committed the heinous act when her stepmother was away.
Alafu baba akaenda hiyo siku akaniletea dawa, alafu akaniambia mesa, alafu mama akamba akanipeleka kambo, akanipeleka kwa auntie, alafu ikafika usiku nikasikia kitu inanichuna tumbo, alafu auntie akaniambia enda fua kwa mtoto, nikafua. Nikafika nyumbani mtoto akatoka wakatupia choo.
According to her mother, after realizing her daughter was pregnant, she interrogated her and she admitted that her stepmother colluded with her father to give her some tablets to swallow when she was 7 months pregnant so as to terminate the pregnancy.
Kupikia baba yake akaniambia nimengangana naye, nimepelekea mama mwingine, nikamwambia nini hiyo? Umepelekea clinic? Akaniambia hapana. Si tumetoa. Nikamwambia kwa nini ulifanya hivyo? Kwa nini ulifanya hivyo? Na nilikwambia tu unipelekee mtoto clinic, alafu nitakuja rudisha mtoto yangu. Sasa nikaenda Saturday, nikaenda nilete mtoto. Nikamwambia, nikauliza mtoto ilikuwa ya nani? Akaniambia ilikuwa ni ya baba. Nani alikufanyia abortion? Ni baba na mama.
Girl child rights activist Judy Tobero reported the incident to authorities, calling for the arrest of the girl's father.
What I'm appealing is that these people the police station should be fair on us so that we can bring justice to the girl, because this is not an easy thing, it's not an easy case, because inside there's incest, there's defilement and there's a procurement of abortion.
Kabarnet Deputy OCPD Crispin Ogutu said investigations are ongoing and they were awaiting a medical report to guide them on the next course of action.
We got a report on allegation of an abortion of a minor, which we subjected to investigation. The initial steps we took was to take the victim to hospital for an expert report. The parents are still insisting that the same happened. So we as a police, we've taken an initiative of subjecting this same victim to a different hospital so that we can get results and compare. Then from there, we shall take action whoever is culpable. So far, that's the much we've done. At this juncture, I would like to point out that
Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha has assured artisans who secured tenders to supply desks to primary and secondary schools that the government will begin paying them on Friday. Magoha says the government is working round the clock to ensure that economic stimulus package for the procurement of desks, which cost 1.9 billion shillings, is implemented. These and more in the County News Roundup.
Speaking when he toured Mnangai Secondary School in West Pokot County, Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha said the government will soon release budgetary allocation to artisans hired to help the state implement the school furniture project. Magoha noted that most schools are still facing a myriad of infrastructural challenges, saying the Ministry of Education will disburse funds to set up classes in compliance with the President's directive.
Those who have completed and delivered, I think starting Friday. Is Friday tomorrow? Starting Friday, we shall start paying them. I think everything is now ready, and we shall start paying them, and we shall of course we shall be paying for what we have verified, which is very top quality.
Meanwhile, Western Igishu County Director of Education Gitonga Mbaka appeared before the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission on Wednesday to record a statement over an incident involving him and Education Cabinet Secretary George Magoha. The Commission is investigating allegations of unethical conduct touching on the part of the CS. The Ministry of Environment and Forestry and Kenya Forest Service, in partnership with the United Nations Development Programme, have launched a project that will help the country address the issues of climate change. The Forest Carbon Partnership Facility, PCPF, Readiness Project aims at mitigating the effects of climate change and forest degradation while reinforcing the importance of increasing the country's forest cover to 10% by the year 2022. Meanwhile, community radio stations have been challenged to play a leading role in creating awareness on the need for sustainable development in the country. UNESCO says the radio stations should strive to produce rich content on areas such as agriculture with the view of boosting food production and innovation.
Train media personalities, journalists, to ensure that they are responsive to the needs of the society. Our need today as a society is how to survive COVID. And so this meeting is very timely and very helpful to help us gain the necessary skills to be able to impact our community, to be able to respond to their needs.
In Nyeri County, aviation training colleges are expressing optimism that next year will bring good tidings in the sector, having been among the worst affected by the coronavirus pandemic. Senior Captain Peter Lempatu, an aviation trainer, said the institutions are ready to receive new students when schools resume in January, having followed all the Ministry of Health guidelines to ensure safety.
We got from the government that the schools are reopening on next year. We are very well prepared in our school and in our setup, our aircrafts, everything is well prepared to receive more students.
Finally, the Africa Peer Review Mechanism, APRM, has challenged counties to embrace good governance in order to promote prudent resource utilization, enhance economic growth, and eradicate poverty. Director Elias Mbao says county governments must ensure, among others, inclusivity, public participation, and gender equality is achieved in their respective jurisdictions for the benefit of all Kenyans.
County governments to also agree that the governor and her executive agree to be subjected to the same mechanisms through a tool that we have devised so that we can all set up structures, systems, and procedures that help her achieve her goals by prudent usage of the resources made available to her by the national government as well as by the local government.
Caroline Kamal reporting for Channel 1 News Hour.
On that note, we take a commercial break. Business news is up next.
Next on.
If we had not gone into PPEs right now, we wouldn't be having this opportunity to tell this story of how Equity helped the local sector by procuring locally.
Majina naitwa Borin Cherono, natoka kaunti ya Bomet. I'm Lucy Jerry Goge. I'm very happy to come to Christian. Tuanze na Lucy tusikie. Sante, you have done a very good job.
Thank you, thank you.
You think it's something you can try? Yeah. Wow. Hey, Maureen. Naona unasugulia vizuri miguu.
And not only did we fight, we made it a product that meets international levels. There's a lot more that we can do locally. Let's explore and let's see what we can do.
On the next episode of Ashoka.
We must celebrate. Just forget whatever happened.
It will not be forgotten. And I won't let anyone forget it. Acharya was not killed by Dastan. And whoever killed him is right here.
On the next episode.
Kenya's fight against the coronavirus disease has involved a multi-sector approach under the leadership of President Uhuru Kenyatta. While more is still being done, much has been achieved. This week on Project 254.
Tiba ventilator ilianza mwezi wa Aprili ambapo rais alitangaza ugonjwa wa corona kuwa umefika Kenya.
Tunachukua sampuli za COVID-19, lazima tuwe na hii media inaitwa viral transport media.
Tunashukuru president kwa kutake initiative ya kuweza kukumbuka vijiji kama hizi.
And in the business world, the government has set aside 400 million shillings to clear debts owed to farmers and suppliers to the Kenya Meat Commission. Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i says the KMC has cleared 250 million shillings debt owed to livestock farmers and further 150 million shillings set aside to clear debts to other general suppliers in the current financial year.
President Uhuru Kenyatta transferred the management of the loss-making parastatal to the Kenya Defence Forces in September this year. For more than a decade, the Kenya Meat Commission has faced a total collapse due to mounting debts, mismanagement and corruption at the farm. Despite efforts by the National Treasury to inject capital running into billions of shillings, KMC has never managed to capture the market. It lost two rivals in the 1990s.
People worry about the process. You need 7 signatures to move a document that could be moved with one signature by just basic trust and so on. That kind of idiocy is the one that actually has messed up Kenya Meat Commission.
Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i says livestock delivery to KMC has grown by 28% in the last 2 months, while 250 million shillings debt owed to farmers has already been paid. The CS further says the government will position KMC as the main meat supplier to public institutions such as prisons and learning institutions to boost its client base, even as it eyes the lucrative Middle East beef market.
We actually now started actualizing our Buy Kenya, Build Kenya campaign, where we are insisting that public institutions in the country, we put out a list that the Treasury put out, circulated the other day, of products that we must first of all buy and exhaust locally before we can buy elsewhere. Government is the biggest consumer in this case, and government institutions are the biggest consumer.
In transferring KMC operations to the Ministry of Defense, President Kenyatta opined as the largest customer, the military had a natural stake in seeing the success of the meat processor.
The Ministry of Defense is the foremost consumer. It's a captive client and a captive market for Kenya Meat Commission.
In 2017, the Kenya Meat Commission reported a net loss of 296 million shillings owing to dilapidated and inefficient systems at its Athi River processing plant. Alan Auko, Channel 1 Business.
In other news, coffee stakeholders are proposing a reduction of milling fees and market agent fees in a bid to turn around the troubled subsector. In its proposal to the Coffee Bill 2020, the Kenya Tea Sector Lobby is also vouching for the establishment of the direct settlement system to act as the clearing house for receipt and disbursement of monies from coffee sales. Public submissions to the proposed coffee bill closed today.
Deliberations on coffee matters. Curtains came down for the submission of views to the proposed Coffee Bill 2020, which the government hopes will infuse change into the troubled subsector. The Kenya tea lobby sector is urging the bill to restrict marketing agents and millers from lending to farmers due to their exorbitant lending charges, which average 14%. The lobby group is urging the government to prohibit cooperative societies from commercial borrowing, but instead utilize the recently launched Cherry Advance Fund at new KPCU that lends at 3%. The 3 billion shillings fund has so far lent about 150 million shillings to farmers using their cherry as collateral. Stakeholders are also calling for the establishment of the direct settlement system, saying this is critical to making public information on earnings from all coffees sold from Kenya by all marketing agents. DSS system will make payments to all coffee value chain players directly and transparently to their accounts. The sector lobby group is further proposing coffee be sold either at the auction or directly, with a requirement that direct sales be validated at the auction as opposed to the private arrangement between buyers and sellers. The Coffee Bill 2020 outlaws societies from using farmers' assets to take up expensive loans that is embezzled by cooperative directors. The bill also proposes that independent factories can apply to become standalone societies. The lobby group also proposes that millers and marketing agents shall be appointed by members of a coffee factory during an annual general meeting held before the start of every crop year. O'Brien Kiman for Business News Hour.
In 3 weeks' time, commuters of the busy Likoni Ferry Channel will be able to access the Likoni floating bridge that is currently at 80% completion. The 1.7 billion bridge is expected to alleviate the suffering of thousands of people who cross the channel every day and deal with persistent congestion in the area.
A solution to the perennial human congestion menace that commuters of the ever-busy Likoni Ferry Channel in Mombasa face is imminent after contractors projected to hand over the 1.7 billion shillings Likoni floating bridge project to the government by the 15th of December. According to the Kenya National Highways Authority, its contractors have managed to finalize the foundation works of the floating bridge that stretches over 1.6 kilometers across the Indian Ocean. Steelworks for the floating structure above water is currently underway to ensure the structure does not interfere with the nearby port operations.
We have computers and we are fast tracking of the installation of the steel truss, and also when the pontoon comes, we are going to just install all the pontoons. So I think by the end of December, the pedestrians can walk along this pedestrian railway bridge.
It will be operating 24 hours, but we'll sit down with the KPA and find out how the best way to operate it so that we don't have any areas of conflict.
The bridge is expected to end long queues witnessed by over 300,000 commuters who use the busy crossing channel.
It's an iconic bridge. It will be very attractive, as you can see, and it will be a pull factor to our tourism. Many people would want to come and enjoy the mere sight of people walking over water. It will not be a miracle anymore. It will be something that people will come to enjoy and appreciate. The country is actually moving forward and it's offering solutions that had never been thought of before.
The bridge will further help the public observe health protocols issued by the government to curb the spread of COVID-19.
We are interested in seeing it open and be used so that should the pandemic continue, we will not be worried that we will not be able to enforce social distancing. It will happen as a matter of course.
Juni Karisa Mbele from Mombasa County.
Moving on, the Kenyan aquaculture value chain is set to become more efficient after the Kenyan Marine and Fisheries Research Institute and the Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization developed aquaculture technologies that will see most production challenges in the sector addressed. Researchers say the effort is aimed at promoting fish farming across the country from the current 18,000 to 71,500 metric tons and consumption levels from 4.5 kilograms to 10 kilograms per capital per year.
The Ministry of Agriculture puts the current fish demand at 600,000 tons and the current national fish production at 150,000 tons, adding that the fisheries and aquaculture sector has a big potential despite the significant gap in between. And now, through research, scientists are working to close this gap.
Tunataka mkulima akuwe na pesa kwa mfuko na chakula kwa meza. And when we do that, kama tumekuwa hivyo, tumesema wakuwe wanafunzi wazuri.
The World Bank funded Kenya Climate Smart Agricultural Initiative is currently targeting 24 counties through adoption of climate smart aquaculture technologies that is expected to build resilience and climate change and reduce greenhouse gas emissions.
Tunataka kufanya hii kitu kwa teknolojia mpya ambayo inamaanisha kwamba tutakuwa tunatoa ile greenhouse gases ambayo inachafua environment.
The innovations include development of models and aquaparks, intensive recirculating of aquaculture systems, tank-based systems, hydroponics and aquaponics, as well as high-density intensive production cages in Lake Victoria.
Tutakuwa na increased productivity. Ya pili, tutakuwa tunakuwa na resilience katika maneno ya climate change kama kuna flood na maneno ya drought.
The training for the 24 counties so far has been conducted in 5 counties, with Kisumu becoming the 6th county to host the training, which ends next week. Alan Auko, Channel 1 Business.
Now, in the sports news, the 2-day National Olympic Committee of Kenya NOC athletes workshop culminated today in Nairobi. The training, which was geared towards helping athletes achieve success while they prepare for their career transition, has attracted sportsmen and women from 28 sports confederations affiliated to NOC.
A 2-day workshop dubbed Athlete 365 Career Plus Workshop brought together close to 60 sportsmen and women from NOC-affiliated national federations, led by Kenya national boxing captain Nico Koth, who qualified for the postponed Tokyo Olympic Games to be held next year.
What we want to sell, I want to empower athletes with coaching is just one aspect of transitioning away from sport. Yes, some of them will go into coaches, some of them will go into sports administration, some of them will stop sports at all and go into a full-time career and a job in terms of what they studied in school.
As you all know, is the anti-doping education. This is a big issue within Kenya, and as a National Olympic Committee, we want to be proactive in terms of educating all our teams, and every opportunity we get, we train them.
The workshop's objective was targeted at elite athletes who are in mid-careers balancing sport and education, in dual careers, and athletes close to or in the process of making their transition from sport.
It's a really informative forum. We also learned how to fuel and motivate ourselves. Since there's an upcoming event, the Tokyo 2021 Games.
To have more of this, especially on the athletes, we need this one, and then we need to see somebody to counsel us what we're supposed to do, like this one today. This one today, we really enjoyed, and then it teaches me a lot. Actually, not me, even everybody, every athletes.
The Career Plus program is an initiative of the International Olympic Committee, IOC Athletes Commission. Frederick Moki for Channel 1 Sports.
Confederation of African Football has ordered the CECAFA Under-20 tournament to be played behind closed doors. The regional competition, which will bring together 9 nations, is set to kick off on November 20th and will run until December 2nd in Arusha, Tanzania. CAF says it is a tournament for junior players and that COVID-19 protocols must be adhered to. The Kenya Under-20 national team, the Rising Stars, started residential training for the tournament on Tuesday at the Kenya School of Government, with both the players and the members of the technical bench undergoing the mandatory COVID-19 test ahead of the regional junior tournament. Apart from Rwanda and Eritrea, who will not take part, Kenya, Tanzania, Djibouti, Somalia, Burundi, South Sudan, Ethiopia and Uganda will participate in the competition. From December to February 2021, because of COVID-19 restrictions, European representatives Bayern Munich won the Champions League in August, but the pandemic affected the conclusion of the other continental championships. Now the tournament will be played in Qatar from 1st to 11th February. Well, that brings us to the end of our bulletin this evening. For more news, check out our website at kbc.co.k. Well, up next is Yusufara with the weather updates. My name is Jacky Wambiru. Our sign language interpreter has been Lensa Odingo. Have a good night.
Rainfall is expected tonight over the southern half of the country, with strong winds expected over areas of Marsabit. A very good evening to you wherever you're watching us from. My name is Yusufar. This is your Channel 1 weather updates. Now, 11 degrees makes Nyeri and Eldoret the coldest in the country tonight. Might want to keep warm if you're in those areas. Tomorrow morning, we are waking up to a warm morning. Sunny intervals from the northeastern region with partly cloudy conditions. Areas of Mombasa, Malindi and Kilifi will be having showers in the morning with partly cloudy conditions. Kitui, Voi and Makindu will have rains in the morning, accompanied by sunny intervals, and areas of Lodwar all the way to the Lake Turkana basins, sunny intervals in the morning. Looking at the afternoon, where showers accompanied by thunderstorms will be in the areas of Kisumu, Kisii and Kericho. Residents of Mombasa continue experiencing Showers in the afternoon accompanied by sunny intervals. The northeastern region will be having sunny intervals, and the same in the Lake Turkana Basin. As far as your temperatures are concerned, Lodwar highs of 36, lows of 24, Marsabit highs of 28, lows of 19, and Garissa highs of 36 and lows of 24. That is all we have for you for the local weather forecast. The international weather forecast is coming up in a bit rather. Do have yourselves a lovely night.
Vera Beauty College.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College, with branches in Nairobi, Eldoret, Thika, and Meru. Did you know that we are a TVET-approved institution? We offer courses in fashion design, interior design and soft furnishing, event decoration, flower arrangement, event planning, hairdressing, barbering and dreadlocks, beauty therapy, makeup, nail technology, spa massages, teaching skills, TOT, solo business management, and many more. Register now and visit our website on www.verabeautycollege.com. You can also call on 0725 923 550 Nairobi branch, 0728 087 689 Eldoret branch, 0722 227428 Thika branch, 0725 000-706 Meru branch. Vera Beauty and Fashion College, a TVET-approved institution.
Next on.
Penda tuzungumzie adabu na nafsi.
Uislamu ili atie adabu kwenye nafsi yake, ana mambo manne ambayo kwamba afaa kuendea mbio zaidi. Manne haya:
takuona vipi ewe mtumwa wangu, nami zimezidi mno dhambi zangu. That's the power of remembering Allah. It's the best way to purify your heart.
My baby, you replay, playing my favorite tune. Oh, yeah, chase already your love. Oh, already your love. My shaggy, atana pasi na sana yo, baby, my honey.
Tunakupa burudani.
Na umbea, yani stories.